My wife planned a vacation with her sister as a cover. But she actually went away with my best friend. I'm writing this from a studio apartment that smells like takeout and regret. The furniture came with the place. The silence didn't. My name doesn't matter. What matters is that 6 months ago, I had everything. A wife who looked at me like I hung the moon. 2 kids who ran to the door when I came home. A house that felt like home. Now I have this. Let me tell how a man destroys his entire in slow motion. One decision at a time. It started with Sarah. Not my wife. My wife's name is Jessica. Was Jessica. I don't even know what tense to use anymore. We're separated. Divorce papers sitting on my kitchen counter, next to expired milk, and empty promises. Sarah was my coworker. That's how these stories always start, isn't it? The coworker who laughs at jokes a little too hard. Who stays late when stay late? Who makes feel like the version of thought lost somewhere between marriage and mortgage payments? I was 34. Jessica and I had been together since college. Married at 20. 5 kids at 27 and 29. Somewhere in there. Between diaper changes and parent-teacher conferences and trying to remember when we last had a real conversation, I convinced I'd disappeared. That's the lie I told. That I was invisible in my own. Sarah made me feel seen. It was innocent at first. Office conversations that lasted too long. Lunch breaks that stretched past an hour. Text messages about work that somehow turned into text messages about everything else. Jessica noticed before I did. Her on phone a lot. She said one night, folding laundry while I sat on the couch, smiling at something Sarah had sent. Work stuff. I said, easy lie. Comfortable lie. She didn't push. Jessica never pushed. She trusted me. That trust would become the I'd use to gut our entire lives. The first time Sarah and I crossed the line, it was at a company happy hour. Jessica was home with the kids. Our oldest, Emma, had a science project due. Our youngest, Tyler, had a cold. Go ahead. Jessica had said when I told her about the drinks. Never go out anymore. Have fun. Permission from my wife to go destroy our marriage. The irony makes me sick now. Sarah wore this blue dress. I remember that detail with perfect clarity. Isn't that twisted? I can barely remember what Jessica wore on our wedding day. But I remember Sarah's dress. We drank. We laughed. When everyone else left, we stayed. I should go. I said, checking my phone. 3 missed texts from Jessica. Photos of Tyler laughing at something on TV. Emma holding her finished project. A goodnight message with a heart emoji. One more drink, Sarah said. One more drink became 2. Became her hand on my arm. Became me not pulling away. Became a kiss in the parking lot that I didn't stop. I drove home that with my heart hammering and my mind racing. Jessica was asleep on the couch, TV still on. Waiting for me like she always did. I could have ended it there. Could have woken her, confessed everything, begged for forgiveness. Instead, I covered her with a blanket and went to bed. The next morning Emma asked why I was so quiet. Just tired, sweetheart. I said, and poured another coffee I didn't need. Jessica my cheek on her way to work. Love, she said. Love too, I replied. Another lie. Or maybe the truth. I don't know anymore. Can love someone and still betray them? I used to think no. Now I know the answer is yes, and that makes it so much worse. Sarah and I started an affair. That word. Affair. It sounds romantic. Sophisticated. Like something from a movie where beautiful people make beautiful mistakes, then learn beautiful lessons. There was nothing beautiful about what we did. We met in hotel rooms during lunch breaks. Sent messages we deleted immediately after. Created entire secret languages in our calendars and our phones. I became a professional liar. When Jessica asked about my day, I edited out entire chapters. When she suggested date nights, I made excuses. When she tried to initiate intimacy, I was always too tired. The woman who'd given me everything got the worst of me. The woman who was helping me got the best. 3 months in, Jessica planned a weekend trip with her sister, Michelle. Mom's going to watch the kids, she said, excited in a way I hadn't seen in months. Just us girls, tasting, spy treatments. I need this. She did need it. I'd made sure of that, hadn't I? Made our home so tense and distant that she needed to escape. That sounds great, I said, already calculating how much time I'd have with Sarah. Jessica hugged me. Thank for being supportive. I know things have been Off lately. I think this will help. Some space to miss each other. No. The guilt lasted maybe 10 minutes. Then I texted Sarah. The weekend Jessica left, I told I'd use it to think. To figure out what I really wanted. To be alone and get my head straight. Instead, Sarah came over. To my house. The house I shared with my wife and children. She slept in my bed. We ate breakfast at my kitchen table. She laughed in my living room. I desecrated every sacred space I had. Sunday morning, she was in the shower when my phone rang. Unknown number. I almost didn't answer. I hadn't. Is this Jessica's husband? Woman's voice. Familiar, but I couldn't place it. Who is this? My name is Rebecca. I'm a friend of Michelle's. There's been an accident. The world stopped. What? Is Jessica okay? What happened? She's alive, but she's in the hospital. Need to come right away. She gave me the address. My hands were shaking so hard I had to ask her to repeat it twice. Sarah came out of the bathroom in my wife's robe. I wanted to throw. I told Sarah to leave. Made some emergency. She was annoyed but left quickly when she saw my face. I drove 2 hours to the hospital. Mind completely blank except for a loop of "Please let her be okay" playing on repeat. When I got there, Michelle met me in the waiting room. Her face was wrong. Too calm. Too knowing. Where is she? I demanded. What happened? Michelle didn't move. Just stared at me with this look I couldn't read. There was no accident, she said quietly. I felt my stomach drop into my shoes. What? Jessica's fine. She's not here. She's actually at a hotel about 20 minutes away. Michelle's voice was measured, controlled. With someone. The room tilted. What are talking about? Michelle pulled out her phone. Showed me a photo. Jessica. Coming out of a hotel room. Laughing. Looking happy in a way I hadn't seen in months. With a man. Not just any man. Marcus, my best friend since high school. Best man at our wedding. Godfather to our kids. Marcus. I couldn't breathe. This trip wasn't with me. Michelle said, her voice harder now. I helped her plan it, but she's not with her sister. She's with him. They've been seeing each other for 2 months. 2 months. While I was lying and sneaking around, and destroying our marriage from the inside, Jessica was doing the same thing. How did? I couldn't finish the sentence. I've known for weeks. Jessica told me everything. About how distant thing. How cold. How she suspected we're cheating. So she hired someone to follow. Michelle's eyes were ice. She's known about Sarah for 6 weeks. She has photos, messages, everything. The floor disappeared beneath me. So, she did this to get back at me. No. Michelle stepped closer. She did this because she was already gone. Left her first. Just didn't know she'd noticed. I don't remember leaving the hospital. Don't remember the drive. I only remember pulling into a rest stop, and throwing until was nothing left. Jessica knew. Had known for weeks. While I was sneaking around feeling guilty, but not guilty enough to stop, she was already gone. While I thought I was the cheater, we both were. But somehow, knowing she'd cheated too didn't make me feel better. Didn't make us even. It made everything so much worse. Because I drove her to this. My lies, my distance, my betrayal came first. I created the wound. She just returned the favor. I went home. Sarah's perfume still lingered in my bedroom. Jessica's robe was on the bathroom floor. I sat on the edge of the bed and tried to remember who I used to be. The man Jessica fell in love with. The father my kids ran to. The friend Marcus trusted. I couldn't find him. I'd killed that man slowly over 3 months of lies and hotel rooms and deleted messages. My phone buzzed. Text from Jessica. Michelle told me no. Don't come looking for me. I'll be back Tuesday. We'll talk then. But we're done, right? We're done. I typed and deleted 20 different responses. Apologies. Accusations. Finally sent. I'm sorry. 3 dots appeared. No response came. I spent that night in my daughter's room, looking at her artwork on the walls. Pictures of our family. Stick figures holding hands. A house with a crooked chimney. Hearts everywhere. She'd drawn a world that was about to. Tyler's room was worse. Photos of Marcus, and me from over the years. Best friends. Brothers by choice. The man who was currently with my wife. My head spun with questions I couldn't answer. How long had Jessica suspected? When did Marcus and her start talking? Was it revenge or something real? Did it matter? Nothing mattered. We'd both destroyed everything. But I'd gone first. Tuesday came. Jessica walked through the door looking like a stranger. Calm, resolved. Heartbreakingly beautiful. The kids? I asked. Still with Mom. They're going to stay there this week. She set down her bag. We sat at the kitchen table, where we'd eaten 1,000 meals. Where we'd carved our initials when we first bought the house. Where I'd proposed. How long with Sarah? She asked. 3 months. She nodded like she already knew. Marcus and I have been seeing each other for 2 months. Since I confirmed we're cheating. Jessica. Let me finish. Her voice was steel. I suspected before I had proof. We're different. Distant. Always on phone, coming home late. All the clichés. I wanted to be wrong so badly. I told I was paranoid. That we were just in a rough patch. Tears rolled down her face, but her voice never wavered. Then I hired someone. Got photos of with her. Texts, hotel receipts, everything I needed for the lawyer. Hired a private investigator. Yes. And when I had proof, I was going to confront. But then Marcus called to check on me. We'd always been friends, no. He could tell something was wrong, so I told him. My best friend. I felt sick. We talked for hours. He was furious protective of me. And somewhere in all that talking. She paused. Did love him? The question came out broken. I don't know. Maybe. Or maybe I just needed to feel wanted again. To feel like I mattered to someone. She wiped her eyes. Isn't that why I went to Sarah? Yes. That was exactly why. I'm sorry, I whispered. May too. I'm sorry I wasn't strong enough to just leave. Sorry I back instead of just walking away. But mostly. She looked directly at me. I'm sorry for our kids. Because they're going to pay for what we both did. The next part happened fast. Lawyers. Custody arrangements. Dividing assets. Telling the kids. That was the worst part. The absolute worst. Emma cried and asked if it was her fault. Tyler got quiet in a way that scared me. They looked at us like we were monsters. Because we were. Jessica got the house. I got weekends. Standard custody agreement. Everything was civil and cold and businesslike. Sarah tried to reach out. Thinking maybe now we could be together. I blocked her number. Marcus disappeared. Moved to another state. Jessica never mentioned him again. I don't know if they're still together. Don't want to know. 6 months later, I'm here. Studio apartment. Divorced. My kids spend holidays deciding which parent to disappoint. Emma's grades dropped. Tyler started having nightmares. I did that. Not alone. Jessica made her choices too. But I went first. I broke the vows first. I opened the door that destroyed our family. Work friends stopped calling. Mutual friends picked sides. My parents barely speak to me. Jessica's family, who I'd known for 15 years, act like I'm dead. I destroyed us so thoroughly that sometimes I forget I used to have one. Sarah moved on quickly. Saw on social media she's engaged. Good for her. I hope she never tells her fiancé about me. Jessica started therapy. Jake's the kids. They're healing slowly. Without me. Marcus sent one email after he moved. I'm sorry. I know that doesn't matter. But I am. I never, ever's there to say. People ask if I regret it. If I could go back, would I change things? Of course I would. I'd change everything. Every lie. Every moment with Sarah. Every time I chose someone else over the woman who'd chosen me every single day for a decade. But regret doesn't fix anything. Doesn't bring back what I destroy. Doesn't heal my kids. Doesn't undo the moment Emma asked if Daddy doesn't love us anymore. I'm writing this as a warning. Not for sympathy. I don't deserve that. I'm writing this so, maybe someone reading will see themselves starting down this path. Will recognize the first lie. The first deleted message. The first moment, choose someone else over the person promised forever to. Stop there. Because it doesn't end with getting what want. It doesn't end with excitement and passion and feeling alive. It ends with alone. Eating microwave dinners. Listening to silence. Trying to remember what kids' laughter sounds like in person and Slykin over FaceTime. Last weekend was my custody weekend. Emma barely talked to me. Tyler asked when he could go home. Home. His mother's house. Not mine, I'm not home to them anymore. Sunday night I dropped them off. Jessica was polite. Distant. Like I'm just some guy she used to know. Emma hugged her mom tight and said, I'm glad we're home. Tyler didn't even say goodbye to me. I drove back to my studio apartment, Ordered food I didn't eat, and sat in the dark. This is what I chose. This emptiness. This absence. This hollow space where a family used to be. People say cheaters never think about consequences. That's not true. I thought about them constantly. I just thought I wouldn't get caught. 3 months after the divorce was finalized, I got a call from Emma's school. She'd been in a. My 9-year-old daughter, who used to cry when she stepped on ants, had punched another girl in the face during lunch. We need both parents to come in. The principal said. Both parents. Separate cars. Separate sides of the office. That's what we'd become. Jessica got there first. I saw her through the office window. Talking to the principal. With that concerned parent expression, I knew so well. The expression she used to make while looking at me with love. Now she couldn't even look at me at all. I walked in. She shifted slightly away. Not obvious. Just enough to make the distance clear. Emma sat between us, arms crossed, jaw set. She had my stubbornness, Jessica's eyes, and a rage that belonged to both of us. Emma punched Madison Fisher. Principal Hendricks said, sliding a disciplinary form across the desk. Broke her nose. What? Jessica and I said it simultaneously. First time we'd been in sync in months. Madison said something. Emma muttered, staring at the floor. What did she say, sweetheart? Jessica's voice was gentle. Emma's eyes filled with tears. She looked at me with something I'd never seen before. Something like hatred. She said her mom told her that our family fell apart, because daddy has a girlfriend and mommy has a boyfriend, and that makes us trash. Emma's voice broke. She said everyone knows. She said we're the family that nobody wants to play with anymore because we're broken. The room went silent. I felt something inside my chest. Not my heart. That broke months ago. This was something deeper. The last piece of whatever made me human. Emma honey, I started. Don't. She stood, this tiny fierce thing. Did this, and mom, made everyone laugh at us. Made Tyler cry every night. Made us the broken family. Jessica reached for her. Sweetheart, please. I both. Emma's voice was cold. 9 years old and cold as winter. What did to us? She walked out of the office. Jessica stood to follow, pausing at the door. She didn't look at me. Just said quietly. This is on both of us. But started it. Then she was gone too. Principal Hendricks cleared his throat. Mr. Henderson, the school has resources. Counselors who specialize in children of divorce. She doesn't need a counselor for divorce. I interrupted. She needs parents who didn't destroy her world. I signed a disciplinary paperwork with shaking hands. 3-day suspension. Mandatory family counseling before she could return. Family counseling. What a joke. I sat in my car in the school parking lot for an hour afterward. Watched other parents pick their kids. Whole families. Intact families. Families that still had dinner together and went on vacations and didn't flinch when someone mentioned Madison Fisher's mother gossiping at the grocery store. My phone buzzed. Text from Tyler's aftercare program. Tyler hasn't been picked. We've been trying to reach his mother. Can't collect him. I drove to the elementary school. Tyler was the last kid there, sitting alone with his backpack, drawing in a notebook. Hey buddy. I said. Mom got held. I'm here to get. He didn't look. Just kept drawing. Are not supposed to pick me on Wednesdays. I know but. It's Mom's Day. Only get weekends. He finally looked at me. Those are the rules. 7 years old. Reciting custody agreements like a lawyer. Sometimes the rules change but, come on let's go. Taking me home. Real home. Real home, his mother's house, yeah. I'll take to real home. Jessica's car was in the driveway when we arrived. I walked Tyler to the door. He ran inside without saying goodbye. Jessica came to the door. Her eyes were red. She'd been crying. Thank for getting him, she said. Where were? My car broke down. I was dealing with that and lost track of time. She wrapped her arms around herself. I'm barely holding it together most days. I wanted to hug her. To tell her I was sorry. That I'd fix everything. Instead, I just nodded. I know the feeling. Emma's in her room. Won't talk to me, won't eat. Jessica's voice cracked. We broke our daughter. I broke her. I broke all of Poem. Stop. She wiped her eyes. I'm tired of taking all the blame like some martyr. I made choices too. I slept with best friend. I lied to about that weekend. I'm not innocent. Did it because I chose to. Agency, remember, we both had it. We both used it to destroy everything. She stepped back. The counselor can see us tomorrow at 4. Both of us. For Emma's sake, family counseling was worse than I imagined. We sat in a cheerful office with motivational posters and a bowl of stress balls. The therapist, Dr. Ramona Chen, had kind eyes and a notepad that felt like a weapon. Emma sat as far from both of us as possible. Emma, Dr. Chen said gently. Can't tell me why hit Madison. Silence. She doesn't have to relive it, Jessica said. Actually, she does. Dr. Chen's voice was firmer now. Because keeping it inside is what led to violence. Emma, this is a safe space. Tell me what you're feeling. Emma's hands balled into fists. I'm angry. At everyone. Her voice rose. At Madison for saying it. At the other kids for laughing. At school for being horrible. At mom and dad for making it true. What did Madison say that was true? Emma looked directly at me. That didn't love us enough to stay. I felt the words hit like bullets. I love more than. Then why did leave? She was crying now. Why did pick her over us? Why wasn't I enough? Why wasn't Tyler? I wasn't about, sweetheart. It was never about. Then who was it about? She stood. This small person with enormous pain. Because it wasn't about mom, her. And it wasn't about us. Left us. So who was it about? Dr. Chen leaned forward. Who was it about, Mr. Anderson? The room waited. Me. I wasn't about me. What about? I felt invisible. Unimportant. Like I'd disappeared into being just a dad, and a husband, and I'd lost. The words came out like I'd been holding. Sarah made me feel seen. And we made feel invisible. Emma's voice was small now, broken. No, baby, didn't do anything wrong. But, just said. I was wrong. I was selfish and wrong. I was crying now too. Didn't make me invisible. I chose to believe I was. I chose to throw away everything real for something that was. Dr. Chen turned to Jessica. And, Mrs. Anderson? Ems Parker. I took back my maiden name. Jessica stared at her hands. I felt abandoned. Lonely. My husband was right there but completely gone. So when Marcus showed, and actually listened, she trailed off. Wanted revenge. Dr. Chen asked. I wanted to matter again. To someone. Anyone. Jessica looked at Emma. But I should have just left. Should have protected Tyler instead of making it worse. I'm sorry, baby. I'm so sorry. Emma stared at both of us. We're both sorry. Everyone's sorry. But it doesn't fix anything. She was right. We had 3 more sessions. Each one peeled back another layer of damage we'd done. Tyler joined the 4th session. He barely talked, just drew pictures while we discussed parenting plans and communication strategies. At the end, Dr. Chen asked to see his drawings. They were all the same. A house split down the middle. Stick figures on each side. A giant running through everything. This is our family. Tyler said matter-of-factly. It's broken and it can't be fixed. 7 years old. Already understanding permanence. Work became unbearable. Sarah had left the company months ago. But everyone knew. The affair. The divorce. The spectacular implosion of my colleagues who used to eat lunch with me made excuses. Projects I used to lead went to other people. My boss called me in for a chat about office morale. Look, Dave. He said, using my first name with uncomfortable familiarity. We're good at job. But there's been feedback. About professionalism. About boundaries. I haven't done anything. I know. But perception matters. And right now, the perception is that, or the guy who cheated on his wife with blew 2 families, and created a hostile work environment. Hostile. I haven't. Sarah filed a complaint before she left. Said pursued her aggressively. Made her uncomfortable. Created pressure. The room spun. That's not true. We both. I couldn't finish. I'm not saying I believe her. But HR has to investigate. And during that investigation, I'm recommending take a leave of absence. Paid. Just until things settle. A leave of absence. Professional exile dressed as kindness. I went home early that day. My studio apartment felt even smaller. Even lonelier. My phone rang. Unknown number. I almost didn't answer. Dave. It's Marcus. I felt my freeze. Don't, he said quickly. Please. I need to say something. Have nothing to say that I want to hear. Jessica and I are done. Have been for months. I needed to know that. Silence stretched between us. Years of friendship. Gone. Why are telling me this? I asked finally. Because I'm trying to make amends. I'm in therapy. Working through my own stuff. And my therapist said I need to face what I did to our friendship. Make amends. Slept with my wife. And slept with Sarah while married to Jessica. We both betrayed people we loved. We're both guilty. Don't. I said. Don't try to make us the same. Aren't we? His voice was sad. Betrayed Jessica. I betrayed. We both justified it with pain and loneliness and feeling abandoned. We're exactly the same. I hung. But his words stayed with me. Were we the same? Marcus and I, both cheaters. Both home wreckers. Both men who chose temporary comfort over permanent love. I poured a drink. Then another. Then stopped counting. Around midnight. And I called Jessica. It's late. She answered, voice thick with sleep. Did love him. Marcus. Did actually love him? Or was it just revenge? Silence. Then, I don't know. Maybe both. Maybe neither. Does it matter? Yes. Because if loved him, then what we had wasn't real. If could love someone else that fast. Like loved Sarah. The words hit like a. That was different. I said. How? How was it different? I didn't have an answer. I loved Dave. For 15 years, I loved. And somewhere in there, stopped loving me back. Or at least, stopped showing it. So when Marcus showed, and made me feel wanted. She paused. I grabbed it. Just like grabbed Sarah. So we're even. We're both destroyed. There's a difference. She hung. The next custody weekend, Emma refused to come. She's going through something. Jessica explained at the door. Tyler waited in the car, backpack ready. Give her space. I want to talk to her. She doesn't want to talk to Bai. She's my daughter. And she's my daughter. Forcing her to spend time with right now will only make it worse. Em looked past Jessica into the house. Emma was at the top of the stairs, watching. When our eyes met, she turned and disappeared. How long? I asked. As long as it takes. Jessica's voice was gentle but firm. Need to respect her boundaries. Even if they. Tyler and I went to the movies. He picked an animated film about a family of superheroes. I watched him watch the screen. Saw his face light during the happy parts, saw it fall during the scenes where the family fought. Afterward, at dinner, he barely touched his food. Not hungry. Bud. The family in the movie. They fought but then they were okay again. Yeah, they did. Are we gonna be okay again? I wanted to lie. To give him hope. To promise that time heals everything and families can recover. But I was done lying. I know, Tyler. I hope so. But I can't promise. He nodded. Okay. That night, putting him to bed in his room at my apartment, he said, Dad, do still love Mom? The question gutted me. Yeah, buddy. I do. Then why did break us? I couldn't sleep that night. I lay awake thinking about every decision that led here. Every moment I could have chosen differently. The first text to Sarah. The first lie to Jessica. The first time I prioritized my ego over my family. All those tiny moments that added to total destruction. My phone lit. Email from the private investigator Jessica had hired. Subject line, final invoice. I opened it. Attached were all the photos. Me and Sarah. Entering hotels. Kissing in parking lots. Holding hands at restaurants I'd told Jessica were client meetings. There were dozens of them. Proof of my betrayal. Catalogued and documented. At the bottom, a note from the investigator. I've seen a lot of marriages end. Most of them, there's a villain and a victim. In yours, we're both. That's harder to recover from. Good luck. Monday morning, I met with HR. They'd finished their investigation. Sarah's complaint was deemed credible enough to warrant a formal reprimand. Not termination, but a permanent mark on my record. She said, pursued her relentlessly. The HR director explained. That created an environment where she felt pressured to reciprocate. That's not true. We both. It's her word against yours. And given that we're married, and in a position of perceived power as a senior team member, we have to take her claims seriously. Perceived power. Position of authority. Words that would follow me forever. I left the office that day knowing I'd probably never get promoted again. Knowing every job interview would require explaining this. Knowing my career, like my family, was permanently stained. At home, I found a letter in my mailbox. From Marcus. I almost hid away. Instead, I opened it. Dave, I know don't want to hear from me. I know probably me, should. But I need to know something. Jessica, and I ended because she realized she didn't want me. She wanted her marriage back. She wanted. But both gone too far. Done too much damage. And she couldn't forgive any more than could forgive her. I'm not writing to apologize again. I'm writing because someone needs to tell the truth. Didn't just lose Jessica. Lost. And until find that guy again. The guy were before all this. I'll never be the father kids need. Figure out who are now. Not who were with Sarah. Not who were before Jessica. Who are now, in the wreckage. That's the only way forward. Marcus, I read the letter 3 times. Then I did something I hadn't done in months. I called my dad. Son. He answered. We hadn't spoken since I told him about the divorce. He'd been disappointed in me in a way that deeper than anger. Dad. I need help. What kind of help? The kind where tell me how to live with what I've done. How to be a father to kids who don't want me. How to wake every day knowing I destroyed everything. Silence, then, Kanokend. We talk. Okay. And son? Bring the truth, all of it. No more lies. That Friday, I drove to my parents' house. The house I grew in. The house where I learned what family meant. My mother hugged me at the door. She'd lost weight. Aged. My betrayal had marked her too. We're glad called, she said. My father sat in his chair. Same chair he'd sat in my whole. He looked older. Tired. Tell us everything, he said. From the beginning. Truth, so I did. I told them about Sarah. About Marcus. About Jessica's revenge, and Emma's rage and Tyler's drawings. I told them about work, and the HR investigation. And the studio apartment that smelled like regret. I told them I'd broken everything I loved, and didn't know how to live with that. When I finished, my mother was crying. My father just nodded. Want absolution, he said finally. Want me to tell it's okay. That are forgiven. That can move past this. Yes. I can't give that. Only kids can. And they're not ready. So what do I do? He stood, walked over, put his hand on my shoulder. Become someone worth forgiving. Not for Jessica. Not for Marcus. Not for anyone except Emma and Tyler. His grip tightened. Figure out why I did this. Fix that broken part. And spend every day proving to those kids that are not the man who destroyed their world. What if it's too late? Then, try anyway. Because that's what fathers do. I stayed with my parents that weekend. Slept in my childhood room. Looked at old photos of the man I used to be. Sunday morning, my mother made breakfast. We sat together, the 3 of us, in silence that felt like healing. Father and I almost divorced once. She said suddenly. I looked, shocked. When we're 10. He had a connection with someone at work. Nothing physical, but emotional. An affair of the heart. She looked at my father. I found emails. Poems he'd written her. My father stayed at his plate. What happened? I asked. I almost left. Packed lawyers. But then I looked at sleeping in bed, and I realized leaving and trying. She paused. So we went to therapy. Rebuilt trust. It took years. But we made it. Why didn't ever tell me? Because we thought we'd protected from it. She reached across the table. Took my hand. But maybe, if we'd been honest, shown that marriages take work and forgiveness and courage. Maybe wouldn't have thought yours was disposable. I drove to my apartment Sunday night with something I hadn't felt in months. Not hope. Not exactly. But purpose. I couldn't fix what I'd broken. Couldn't undo the affair, or take back the lies or erase Emma's pain, or Tyler's trauma. But I could become someone different. Someone better. Someone who might, eventually, be worth forgiving. I pulled into my parking spot, grabbed my phone, and texted Dr. Chen. Can recommend a personal therapist. I need help, she responded immediately. Already sent 3 names. I was hoping to ask. My first therapy session was the hardest thing I'd ever done. Dr. Michael Torres was in his 50s, calm and patient and utterly unwilling to let me hide behind excuses. Why did cheat? He asked. I gave him the speech I'd rehearsed. About feeling invisible. About Sarah making me feel important. About the slow of my marriage. That's the story tell, he said. Now tell me the truth. That is the truth. That's the justification. Why did really do it? I sat there, silent, until the answer came. Because I was scared. Of what? Of being ordinary. Of being just a regular husband, and father with a regular. Of disappearing into middle age without anyone noticing. So needed to be noticed. Yes, and destroyed family to prove we're special. The words hit like a hammer.
Yes.
Dr. Torres didn't coddle me. Didn't tell me I was redeemable or that time heals all wounds. He told me I was narcissistic and broken, and that fixing would take years of hard work. He told me Emma and Tyler might never fully forgive me. That Jessica would move on. That I'd lost my best friend and my reputation and possibly my career trajectory. He told me all of this without mercy. And then he said, but can still be a good father. Not the father we're. Can't go back. But can become a father who models accountability and growth and resilience. If we're willing to do the work. I'm willing. Prove it. I started proving it. Therapy twice a week. Individual and eventually, when Emma agreed, family sessions. I wrote letters to my kids. Not excuses, just truth. About my mistakes. About my was learning. About how much I loved them. Emma didn't respond. Tyler sent back drawings. Small steps. I stopped drinking. Started running. Lost weight, got clear-headed. I volunteered at a community center, teaching kids to code. Something that had nothing to do with me, and everything to do with giving back. Months passed. Emma's anger didn't disappear, but it evolved. She started talking to me again. Short conversations. Guarded, Tyler opened more. Still drew broken houses, but occasionally, he'd add small repairs. Tiny fixes. One custody weekend, 6 months into therapy, Emma asked, do still think about her, Sarah? Yeah. I thought about lying. Decided on truth. Sometimes. But not in the way think. I think about how I was. How I weigh everything real for something ball. Do miss her. No. I miss who I was before her. I miss Mom. I miss our family. I looked at Emma. But I can't have that back. So I'm trying to be someone and Tyler can be proud of now. She considered this. I don't think I'll ever forget what did. I don't want to forget. I want to see that people can do terrible things and still choose to be better. Is that enough? I don't know. Sweetheart. But it's all I have. Late, one night. Tyler crawled into bed with me during a custody weekend. Dad, are and Mom ever getting back together? No, buddy. We're not. Air's sad about that. Every single day. He snuggled closer. Me too. We lay there in the dark, two people mourning the same loss from different angles. Dad? Yeah. I love. Even though I'm mad at Pop. I held him tighter. And I'm going to spend the rest of my earning back trust. That's a long time. But are worth it. Jessica started dating someone. Greg. A teacher. Good guy, from what the kids said. It in ways I didn't expect. Not jealousy exactly. More like grief. The final confirmation that what we had was truly over. Emma mentioned him casually one day. Greg took us to the science museum. He's really smart about dinosaurs. That's great, honey. Air's sad that Mom has a boyfriend. A little. But mostly I want her to be happy. She is happy. Emma looked at me seriously. Happier than when she was with at the end. Truth from a 10-year-old, it should have destroyed me. Instead, it set me free. Because she was right. Jessica deserved happiness. Deserved someone who chose her every day. Who didn't need an affair to feel alive. She deserved Greg or whoever else made her smile. And I deserved to live, with knowing I'd had that chance, and blown it.